You file this under how fucked are things. Band of Brothers. Band of Brothers, the best put together war series. A lot of effort. We need to make this.
Country people, but where I come from, but we a lot of us volunteers.
Who would like to volunteer for the tank corps? Who would like to volunteer for...
This came out 2 days before False Flag 9/11.
And that, well, our country was attacked. It's a different. It wasn't like Korea or Vietnam. We was attacked. And, you know, it was a feeling that maybe we just dumb country people, but where I come from, but we a lot of us volunteers.
So, 2 days later, our government did 9/11. Like, that ain't coincidence. That's social engineering. We're gonna do a false flag war, and a lot of happy-go-lucky American kids who might be on the fence of signing up to kill people that they're painting the target on with their false flag war. So, look how heroic and great it was. Look at the adventure these men had. Right in time for 9/11. G.I. Joe. 20 years, was it like 84, 85? So again, I would have been, you know, your big brother who enlists would wind up being a sergeant. 24 years old. Maybe roundabout for 9/11. 25. We know we do with Cobra the enemy. There are hidden hands here, and they play deep spiritual evil games. Anyway, I just thought that was fucked. I just decided to watch Band of Brothers, and I was like, wait a minute, what are they saying here? When did this come out? What are they doing here? Crazy but true. Your bioterrorist government that fakes all news, controls money, like CIA pays for. I bet if you Googled it, there's probably CIA money in Band of Brothers. Advanced psychological manipulation from the bioterrorists who did 9/11, did October 7th, did COVID. Otherwise, we wouldn't be calling them bioterrorists. Poison 9,000 babies a day. Poison the sky, food, water, medicine with neurotoxins. Fake all news so they never get caught. Control higher law enforcement so they never get caught. Made generals and colonels and judges, whatever, complicit by their smaller crimes. So when they do their bigger crimes, those guys are blackmailable. They're a secret club. They can't get caught. They're, you know, on the hook, and they, you know, if they expose it, then they're exposed. And I'm sure some of them like turned honorable and, you know, fell on their swords, and you just never heard of them because they, colonel dies in mysterious car crash or something like that, you know. That's your government. False flag war profiteers that fake all news. Start false flag wars, do bioterrorism, poison babies on purpose knowingly. Did the HIV epidemic. It was a hoax. I was trying to make a point the other day about, like, I got on the Freemason Reddit page and one day and posted how they be. I was like, oh, you guys realize this is you? Like the same people who were promoting the rap game were the same people that ran black slavery in America. Like, this is how I don't get how they get recruits. But people don't study history. The same people that were opposed to women's suffrage are now pivoting to, shouldn't your baby be allowed to chop off their penis if they're 4 years old and decide that they want to be a woman? They just change their schemes all the time, so I don't know how they can think that they're actually following a god when that's the way they go. But, jeez, I forgot what we were gonna say. Where my point was with this. Hey, been cooking my brain. You've been cooking my brain too much. What was I gonna say? Women's suffrage, slavery. Again, like they were probably spiritually the spiritual forces that ran Egypt when that was a black nation, but then they became the spiritual forces running America that said black slavery, lesser humans. So like those spiritual forces look at people as chattel to get whatever goals that, I mean, they just want more human brain hosts, or I don't know what. But that's why they poison us with neurotoxins. That's why they fake their news to keep us fighting. Like the real enemy is whatever brain snake thing that they put into people that they got, causing people to kill people, causing people to torture people, causing people to think, oh, well, we did the false flag, but that was for patriotism. There was no public sentiment to go kill those people, but we needed to kill those people. Crazy, crazy. All that goes on. What else are they doing? I don't know. They do lots of bad stuff. They do lots of bad stuff. What else are they doing? I forget. I can't keep up with it. Trying to think what their reverse, the HIV epidemic. Oh yeah, the HIV epidemic. In the 80s, stay away from gay people. There's a gay person on that block. Quick, clear out the whole block. Like if you were alive, you know it, you remember it. Are the same people now who are like, oh yeah, this is fabulous, and LGBT, like anything to divide and conquer, anything to make us fight, anything to maintain their power and control. Their club continually twists their opinions on what's what. But so in the 80s they had, like people called it the gay plague. And it was a complete hoax, and they were actively killing, like the same club right now that's like, oh, you don't want the XYZ on top of LGBTQ? How intolerant of you are the same people who did the HIV epidemic and had people like, oh, it must be the wrath of God, but it was a party poppers. You can watch Dr. Wilner's video on YouTube. He was running around in 1995 injecting himself with HIV because he wasn't scared, because he knew it was a disease of starvation. 1993 Nobel Prize winner Kary Mullis, who won the Nobel Prize for inventing the PCR test that they used to test for COVID, backed Dr. Wilner's finding. His trouble was they were using his test. He said his test was like a volume dial, so like, if you have underlying, and since underlying virus in a lot of people and been known about for over half a century, the disease of starvation, like you turn that volume dial up and you say, oh, you've got HIV. Now you need to take these pills that will make you sick, so our epidemic appears real, so you'll slowly die. And if you don't slowly die, like your sex life is over, you're gonna be depressed, you're gonna be sad, they made movies about it. Like the same club, the same special witchy people who, just don't talk about the devil horns, triangle finger. This is what the peasants don't know. This is how you rule populations. Like, that's how you get away with crimes. Just because they're bigger than a mafia family breaking legs doesn't mean they're not worse or more evil. Doesn't mean you guys aren't more screwed up in the head. Just because you're more efficient Hitlers doesn't mean that you're some better version of Hitler. They killed 15 million people with COVID. And they don't stop. Like, it's not like they've been caught. Like, a global bioweapon. And they got all of NATO involved. Like, there were 3 countries that opposed the order, the guidelines for COVID. And all 3 of those countries had a dead leader within the next year or so. So all these people are sold out. Government of the US, government of Australia, government of England, government of Israel, government of Germany, government of Sweden. Like, even Sweden's faking truck attacks. Even Sweden's part of the New World Order secret cult cabal of evil. a fake all news, so they can't get caught because they control all news. They have very learned, kind of erudite, tolerant opinions of things, so they're very seductive if you're smart. But then you have to lose your concern for other people, and you have to, like, I mean, when I was a kid, like, punk rock, like, that was the term, was sell out, like, you know, like, you sold out if you join the machine. This is not joining the machine in a angsty kid kind of way where you start like a big business and you're just a shitty boss who earns too much and you're just greedy. Like, this is okay. We don't tell the peasants that we did COVID, and then we'll be able to do our 5G AI mind control, and then when we have the robot people that are mind controlled, then, you know, I don't know, Ra can have brain snakes and everybody and be satisfied with his vengeance on God for killing people, or like, I have no idea. Or vengeance on God by killing people, rather. I have no idea. But it's something. It's something. I know the Triangle people say they're Luciferians, but it's all demonic stuff, so you can't trust what demon-possessed people are. The opinions that they're given, that the demons or evil spirits or whatever they are have given them. But it all goes on. Sending kids to war with their false flags. Creating police states everywhere they go. Like, year 17 of Gangstalk torture for me. Not one FBI agent has come and been like, oh, this is wrong, they're torturing you. I mean, there was one woman in 7-Eleven one day, she's like, I'm done. I'm just done. And I was like, oh, that was nice of you. Alright, they're still torturing me over here, lady. I mean, you know, like, that's what they do. So that means corrupt judges, fake news for the fake prosecutions. That means corrupt politicians. That means corrupt FBI, corrupt CIA, corrupt British intelligence, corrupt German intelligence, corrupt Australian intelligence, corrupt Israeli intelligence, corrupt Swedish intelligence. Like, all these people that agree to be quiet about their secret cult of evil because they sign up by secret oaths of death threats, and they think it's how it works because it, like, seems so elegant. They're like, oh, look, this world is better than, you know, slave state, old world, like, you know, 1776. So clearly it's working, but, like, you just don't get to see the slaves. You don't see the African kids mining batteries for your cell phones. Like, it's not any different. It's not in history books. Like, it still goes on. It's just they've moved it out of sight. And all that goes on. Crazy but true. Like, they have trillions of dollars in tax money where corrupt people used to, you know, have to spend. If you were corrupt in 1950, you'd have to spend a significant portion of your wealth to pay for an assassination or something. When CEOs earn 3 times the amount of their average employees, now CEOs earn like 400 times the amount of their employees, and it doesn't scale equally. It's not just 400 times the amount. It's like way more purchasing power. It's way more. The same way, if you drop a $20 bill, like, you're going to look for it. But if you drop a quarter, you're like, ah, fuck, that sucks, and move on with your day. Once you're a billionaire, you're like, yeah, it was an assassination. It cost $3 million. Like, I got 6 of them done last year. Since they play with life-changing money amounts, since they've got inflation going out of control, they're able to pay. Like, I'm sure the guy who ran my car, you know, 60 years ago, they wouldn't have been able. I mean, yeah, obviously, U.S. government would have been able to afford it, but they wouldn't have been able to afford it to do it, to have, you know, millions of people on their payroll and have, you know, thousands of victims of their torture programs. Well, since there's so much wealth now, since everything's more automated, since Now they can do bigger, more evil crimes. Now they can destroy more lives. Since nobody pays attention, since people are distracted with, like they do the distractions themselves right in time for, you can Google it. It's like 60% of the live police executions of black men on TV happen like during a presidential election cycle. Because they fake them all, because they want a distraction. Nobody knows a family member who would get on GoFundMe. Like most people would be like, oh, well, I got this one scummy family member. Like most people don't know anybody who would get on GoFundMe right after a family member dies. But Alex Preddy earned $1.8 million after he fake died. Renee Good on GoFundMe earned $1.5 million after she fake died. George Floyd earned $14 million. His brother earned $1 million, and his sister earned $400,000. Maybe I'm getting that backwards, I forget. And his daughter earned $2 million on GoFundMe right after she died. After he fake died. And there should be watchdogs. Like everybody thinks, like, no, that can't happen because that's the FBI's job to stop it, and they're super efficient and super like, no, they're the ones involved in doing it. Like that's your paycheck. When you give your government 50% of your paycheck goes towards terrorizing your children in a fake school shooting, or covering up the assassination of Taryn Cheeky, or covering up the assassination of Beverly Eckert, or covering up the assassination of Gary Webb, or covering up the assassination of Pat Tillman. That's where your tax dollars go. Your tax dollars go to bribing other people that wouldn't be, or their gang stalk torture with their join us or die, join us or die. Like it's year 17 of that for me. Their mind control torture. They're like, I start thinking again. Nobody ever thought George Washington was putting voices in their head. Nobody ever thought Abe Lincoln was putting voices in their head. CIA began doing mind control experiments, and people were like, psych wards filled up, and it was top secret. Nobody knew they were doing it. Like, it didn't come out till 20 years later, but psych wards filled up with people thinking the government was putting voices in their head. And they perfected the tech with their 5G AI mind control that they did COVID to mask the side effects of. They perfected the tech, and it was 2 weeks before the Fort Lauderdale shooting. I was like, wait, is the government putting voices in my head? That's what's happening? And then the Fort Lauderdale fake terrorist, I think the government was putting voices in my head. Like, that's the weird witchy taunting I get it all the time in the fake news cycle. But, whatchamacallit? I don't know. I'm at a loss for thoughts. That's your government. That's where your money goes. That's where your taxes go. People think, oh, somebody would stop it because they watch TV, they watch FBI crime shows, they watch CIA crime shows. They think, oh, well, yeah, if this happened, someone would stop it. Like, they've been trying to run me down in the streets dead for 17 years, and nobody stopped it. Like, thousands of unique gang stalkers. Since they're law enforcement, since they control the FBI, since they control local cops, like one faked news event. Get on BitChute and Google BitChute PK Boston Marathon, PEEKAY. Like he was a computer scientist in the 80s, or like when you had to be a real egghead genius to be a computer scientist. And he dissects the Boston Marathon hoax. So like just that one event means corrupt FBI, corrupt local police, corrupt doctors, corrupt. Oh, we're doing a Freemason thing? Yeah, okay, triangle figure. Just one small proof of fakery. Like you could go into a courtroom and be like, Your Honor, we have the murder weapon, we have the time, we have he was there, and then there's like one small detail where it couldn't have been means that it wasn't. One small detail that proves that something's fake means massive collusion. It means corrupt NSA, corrupt blah blah blah, corrupt blah, corrupt. One small proof means the whole thing is. And they all agree to it with secret oaths. They all agree to it with their personal death threat pledges or whatever. Their Freemason oaths. They all agree to it with like they become blackmailable by their crimes, like by what they're participating in. So it becomes a big, like, you know, people are like, oh, that's too big. Someone would talk, like, I'm sure some people talk and they wind up in a ditch. But I'm sure most of it is like, you know, oh yeah, we did 9/11. Like that's not something someone's gonna say. That's not something that would not be a normal confession that people would make. So anyway, all that goes on. Too much insanity. But they do this psychological manipulation, pump priming. They do their psychological manipulation. Who do you trust for your child's health? Up next on the debate. Like, they frame it as, we're having a debate about vaccinations, but Jenny McCarthy versus a doctor in a lab coat. Who are you going to trust? Next on CNN, your child's safety. Jenny McCarthy argues with a qualified doctor. Like, they play the psychological game of, like, you know, you see a playmate and you're like, I trust the doctor more than the playmate. When they could have put anti-vax doctors on. All of Western society, all of modern society, going back to Rome, has known that mercury causes massive brain poisoning, but they were injecting it into babies. When they said they stopped, like, this is the, you know, evil kind of manipulative, like, oh, we stopped putting it in vaccinations, don't worry. And they didn't mention that they had a 3-year stockpile that they continued to use for 3 years that still had mercury in them. They're using aluminum now. Aluminum's just as bad. Like, my grandfather cooked with aluminum every day of his life and he died with Alzheimer's. They've been spraying the sky with neurotoxins. They spray the water with neurotoxins. Sorry, they put neurotoxins in water, and it's a cocktail. It's like one neurotoxin will make you twitchy, and another neurotoxin make you forgetful, and another neurotoxin makes you passive, and another neurotoxin makes you apathetic, another one makes you violent. So they've been spraying the sky with aluminum. They've been putting fluoride in water. Like, this is all on purpose. They're not just, oh, and accidentally that was a neurotoxin. Oh, and accidentally that's a neurotoxin. And accidentally that's a neurotoxin. Like, neurotoxin means it attacks your nervous system. And a solid, like, probably 80% of your nervous system is your brain. I don't know, I'm guessing. Maybe someone got a better statistic on that. But anyway. They want to attack your brain to make you dumb, suggestible, prone to violence, less compassionate, less concerned. Like, again, I've been looking for God for a long time, and I wound up on some new age websites, and they were, you know, there's kids like, I'm an empath. Because the world is so fucked that there are some people who think that having empathy is a superpower. And it's these guys that make it fucked. Like, it's our government. It's, I mean, it's, you know, to be fair to them, it's people's apathy. But they're creating the situations. Since they at least take seriously threats, and other people are, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna go watch NFL on the weekend. I guess they have a slightly reasonable excuse for being psychotic psychopaths, but at the same time, they're some fucked in the head people. Again, with their gang stalk torture here, like, their goal seems to be to get me to act out violently or to get me to commit suicide, and I only assume that because those are the psychological, mental, spiritual effects that they've been having on me with their torture. They did false flag 9/11, but then they paid two guys $89 million, again tax dollars, to torture dogs to find out better torture techniques to use against the people that they knew were innocent of doing 9/11 because they did 9/11. Like, he's just like, pew! Like, oh, here's a bad person who tortures dogs. Nah, doesn't torture dogs. Tortures dogs to get to torture innocent people that he knows are not guilty of the crimes that he committed, because, like, it's just like, wow. You can't get your head around it. But all that goes on. All that goes on in the Freemason Nazi bioterrorist torture state that is America. They have their oh yeah, if it's so bad, why do they come over here? Like, because they don't want to be downrange of the turret that's aiming at them. They want to be inside the turret that's aiming everywhere else. And for my part, I'd rather be an Iraqi kid with an AK-47 in hand and be like, oh, the guy with the bomber, he's my enemy. Okay, yeah, he's bombing me. I guess he's my enemy. Rather than a 18-year-old go into a banker and the guy's like, yeah, just trust me. Like, don't worry. I'm trying to help you out here. Like, at least one's more honest. I'd rather have fighter jets as an enemy than slimy politicians. Yeah, well, you don't, we're just going to torture you some more, and then you'll understand that this is the way that things work. Once we cook out your brainstem and teach you that, you make the devil horns, and that means, like, no, you make the devil horns because something's possessing your brainstem. That's why you make devil horns. It might be subtle. It might be more subtle than any creature the Lord God made, but it's still something real. Just because it's not torturing you guys, just because it's tickling your brain stems, doesn't mean it's not a real thing. Whatever it is, whatever religious context has it, right? Like, again, I don't know. I just stopped for a second while I'm praying, Jesus, help me, Yahweh, help me. I stopped for a second today. I was like, Athena? Maybe Athena's a good... I like her. She's always noble and kind and true. Athena, you out there? Are you real? Can you help me? All that goes on. Too much insanity. So they pump primed kids right before they did 9/11, so be fresh in your mind, patriotism, and people who'd been watching that would have had ideations about nobility and what noble soldiers do, and right in time for 9/11. I'm gonna go to 7-Eleven. During COVID, I watched the news. I knew about them, so my eye was a little bit more keen. They came torturing me 11 years before that. During COVID, there was a woman on the news, and she said, this is real, guys. This one's real. Like a little message to her friends in the secret club. So she thought it was real. I know it was a biological weapon designed to mask 5G EMF poisoning side effects, but I just do the mental math and like, how would they twist people to get them to do something so evil? So with the climate change, that's how I'm very sure I'm right about climate change. With like they did it as a pump priming for their global gas chamber. It's funny how they love gas chambers so much. But oh, the climate, the world's gonna end because of the climate. The world's gonna end because of the climate. And then you're a chemtrail pilot and you're like, oh, I gotta spray this right on top of New York City. That'll stop climate change. And then you land and New York City is 30 degrees cooler than it was. And you're like, oh, that worked. But it doesn't work. Because it's like closing a window in the middle of a field. it doesn't work because the atmosphere goes up another like 380,000 feet from where they're spraying. So all that sunlight gets into the atmosphere, just bounces around the atmosphere. It doesn't actually cool the planet, but it gives them a reasonable excuse to spray their neurotoxins on people. It gives them a reasonable excuse to, a pilot's go, all right, can't talk about this. This is secret stuff. This is to protect them. That's how the evil stuff is always twisting the, oh, it's to protect the babies. You gotta poison them with jabs. Oh, it's to protect the planet. We gotta bomb them with chemtrails. It's to protect the planet. We gotta. Like Ebola was a hoax. Like, they said they got a vaccination, so now they have another angle to poison African people, which is one of their more favorite pastimes, it seems like, with the Tuskegee experiments and stuff. But I was just watching something the other day. What was I watching? I don't know. It was like, oh, they have a vaccination for Ebola. Like, nope, you don't gotta, they're using it as an excuse. Like the same way they're thinking, they're pretending like they got a cure for HIV now. Cause more people are becoming, like, more scientific kids showing up. Maybe a little more suspicious about conspiracy. Oh, there's a giant HIV epidemic that suddenly stopped. It stopped being a massive problem. All on its own. They need to cover up a previous crime that they thought they would never get caught. And they do this to the whole planet all the time. Since they control all news. Since people are good and honest. Like, they claim credit for people being good and honest. They claim credit for, hard work. And I say, oh, we've done this. That means I get another ballroom at Mar-a-Lago. Again, Trump, I had some hope. I thought Trump maybe was a useful idiot to them, like an outsider, insider, someone that they just chose as a useful idiot. I didn't know he was part of the cabal. It should have been obvious with the bomb in Chelsea. Bomb in Chelsea right before Trump won. Right before Hillary lost. Massacre in Bondi. Right before Pam Bondi releases Epstein files. JonBenet Ramsey back in the news. Right before JonBenet Ramsey is walking around being Eric Kirk's what's his name? Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's fake dead wife. I mean, he faked his death. They fake all news, but, I had some hope that Trump was just a greedy asshole who was, but then he faked his ear shooting, so he's a cabal insider too. All that goes on. Insanity. Pure insanity. But there are good people out there. The trouble is, like when you watch the congressional COVID hearings, it's Ron Johnson out there in front, and then the senator comes with a counterpoint, and you're like, in part of you, it must be like, oh, okay, people arguing in the Senate, this is what happens. Like, it's got to be mind-blowing to him at the same time. Like, you really, I just showed you all the science and all this fact, and you're, well, we have our own data. Like, yeah, your own data was cooked up in a lab, and you're part of a secret club, and your secret club wants people's brains poisoned to get these, again, I don't know, Egyptian brain snakes or whatever into people's brains. Whatever it is, I have no idea. But all that goes on. Crazy. What else are they doing? What else the Nazi bioterrorists do? What else the Freemason gang stalkers do? I don't know. Too much for me. They rig every presidential election. They love the ballot checking stuff. The voter ID stuff. They love that argument because it cements their illusion that you actually get a vote. But Obama ran on leaving Iraq. Like, if you were alive, paying attention at the time, like, that was 90% of Obama, like he was yes we can and hope and change and the audacity of hope, and we're gonna leave Iraq immediately. Well, if I win, we will leave Iraq immediately. When I win, like, president has to sign a piece of paper and the army moves. Like, that's how it works. He doesn't have to wait for orders for anywhere. He said that we'd leave Iraq immediately. He got in, and then he stayed for 6 months and said, it's complicated. I need 6 more months. Stayed for 6 more months, do what they do. They know people will forget, people will move on. Then we stayed indefinitely. Like, he was a cabal insider, selected because they have him on blackmail. I'm sure they've never in his life blackmailed him with, you take it up the bunghole from your husband, wife, but I bet if things go bad, I'll bet anything goes bad. Oh, sissy boy? What'd you say, sissy boy? Sissy boy. No one ever called me. Oh, you mean that? Like I bet it would be. Same thing with their pedophile for president sex island. Making sure world leaders wind up, like if you want to become a world leader, you gotta have sex with a 14-year-old, or I'm sure back in Bush's day it was have a dead body on your hands, mafia style. It probably is exactly how it goes. And like, oh yes, well, the brownies gotta take it up the bunghole, but we just make sure we've murdered somebody to cement their love for club, Anyway, this is what goes on. This is what goes on in the land of Nazi pedophile elite gang stalk torturers. And I hate them for changing my arguments, because I used to always be like, oh, well, that's not their fault that they're that way because they're brought up that way. But now they got my back to the wall fighting them. It's no longer a defense attorney style argument. Now it's while they rape your brain, how would you defend them? It's like, oh, it's a lot harder to defend them while they're actually actively raping my brain. But I sometimes worry that that's spiritually why they came for me. They couldn't have me sitting around telling my friends, oh yeah, well, the mafia guy grew up in the mafia family, he's bound to be a mafia hitman, like, it's not really his fault, like, he shouldn't be punished for that, and I'd watch To Catch a Predator with the best of them, but I'd be like, well, this guy's an idiot, like, in the absence of, 130 IQ Chris Hansen entrapping the 80 IQ guy, that guy never would have been a sex offender. Like, that guy never would have been. But since they presented the opportunity, they did the same thing with a terrorist in Chicago who was a low IQ guy. They befriended him. He was a Muslim. They befriended him, said shouldn't you hate America? Shouldn't you want to blow something up? Like, look at America, how evil. Like, the FBI befriended a guy who was basically special needs so that they could get him to buy grenades, so post 9/11 they could pad their 9/11 stats of finding terrorists. Like, just like find someone in the street, like, hey buddy, don't you hate America? No? Oh, well, look at, oh, you don't? I mean, I'll be your friend, I'll be your only friend. Yeah, okay, we'll go hang out, go to a movie. Okay, yeah, you sure you don't hate America? Because, I think it's really bad, man. Oh, yeah, I do too. Okay, you want to buy a grenade and blow something? Yeah, okay. We caught a terrorist. They operate on, I hate to say it, biblically, what you would call the Fowler. They operate on evil, tropes that have always been, cartoon stuff assigned to demonic activity. And it's not even, but it's not like we know what you did. It's like, you don't want to go to Epstein Island? Come on to Epstein Island. Yeah. He went to Epstein Island. Look at what he did. But they don't do that until they need the pressure on, Trump is just getting along, being president. He's not really, presidents don't need to do much. And then one day something comes up and, it's like, oh, you sure you don't want to go to war over there, 14-year-old? And he's like, oh, oof. What'd you say? Yeah, no, our club is special. It's special elites. So all that goes on. crazy. I can't put a finger on it to track it all down to say, oh, this is what's what and this is what's what. But that's the stuff that goes on. That's the secret club of millions of hidden people. Again, you find like Red Silver J talk about the Charlotte church shooting or Sandy Hook truth. You could find it's hard to find this stuff, but you could find PK Boston, PK Truth, PEEKAY Truth. He used to be really good at exposing this stuff, but he had thousands of videos taken down from YouTube because he was too good at exposing it. Like they'll leave Alex Jones up all day long. They're making the frogs, and it's like there's some truth to it. Like there's like they are chemically poisoning us, but at the same time he makes it so outlandish that he becomes effectively a useful idiot to them. Whereas like they would never, they hauled Alex Jones into court. PK Truth, they silently put into a psych ward in Australia, gave him a mental evaluation for his YouTube work without any media fanfare, without any news articles, because if you watch one of his videos, you're like, holy shit, they fake all news. Hey, this is the club of people doing secret evil. I say to them all the time while they torture me, I say, you guys are the CIA, you guys are spooky people, like nobody knows who you are. You could go home and stop. You could go home and do something else. You take it up with God, you take it up with Jesus, you take it up with karma, and stop doing it. You could go home. There's no one there to catch you, but you guys keep doing it. Keep doing their torture programs, keep doing their fake news, keep doing that. Oh, we can't get caught, so we're invincible. Like, alright. Alright. And you think your spooky assassin people scare me. But they don't. So anyway, I'm gonna go get me some coffee. That's what your government does. That's where your tax dollars go. Your tax dollars go to making sure your baby gets poisoned and your neighbor's baby gets poisoned. Your tax dollars go to assassinating 9/11 widows who want 9/11 truth and refuse a $1.8 million settlement. Beverly Eckert. Your tax dollars go to assassinating honest cops like Taryn Cheeky, who was looking for truth about the Oklahoma City bombing. Your tax dollars go to killing men like Bill Cooper, who 2 months before 9/11 said on his radio show, if anything happens in the coming months that they blame on Osama bin Laden, don't you believe it? And then a month after 9/11, he was shot dead on his front lawn by feds for an assault charge. And I know how the gang stalkers work, and I can read Bill Cooper's character. And he was ex-military, so like I'm sure it was, I'm guessing at the context of it, but I'm sure it was, like, oh, your wife looked pretty in that pink negligee last night, like in the middle of a supermarket, because that's how their gang stalking goes. And that's probably where he got his assault charge. That's how your government actually works. That's where your tax dollars actually go. I know a lot of people don't care, but the thing about people not caring is, like, at least if people know and don't care, then it still doesn't work. They'll still fail. All that goes on.